Starting a healthy diet is easy. Staying on it is what breaks most people. The average person quits their new healthy diet resolution after 3 to 5 weeks. Then they fall back into old habits that perpetuate their health issues and weight struggles. This cycle of starting and stopping can be very frustrating. I know because I've been there too. But first, let's get clear on what we really mean by healthy diet. The World Health Organization keeps it simple. Lots of whole grains, vegetables, fruits, legumes, and nuts, while keeping salt, added sugars, saturated fats, and trans fats to a minimum. No fancy superfoods or complicated rules required. Simple enough, right? Yet, knowing what to eat isn't the hard part. The real challenge is consistency. Most people dive into healthy eating focused only on what to eat or what not to eat. They create meal plans, buy cookbooks, and stock up on produce, but they're completely blind to the deeper lifestyle shifts needed to make it sustainable. This explains why, despite having endless nutritional information and healthy recipes at our fingertips, the majority still struggle to maintain a healthy diet long term. By understanding and preparing for these hidden challenges, the one nobody talks about but everyone faces, you can avoid the common pitfalls that derail most people's health journeys and finally build lasting healthy habits for yourself. After maintaining a healthy diet for over 2 years, here are the hard truths I wish someone had told me when I started. It is of critical importance that you surround yourself with like-minded individuals. The impact of your social circle on your health is far more significant than most people realize. Consider this. If your best friend becomes obese, your risk of obesity skyrockets by 57%. In same-sex friendships, this risk climbs to 71%. Siblings increase each other's obesity risk by 40%. Even your spouse can tip the scales too. Married couples share a 37% increased risk of obesity. This is not because overweight people simply flock together. Rather, people who become obese raise the likelihood that those close to them would also become obese. This is based on a research of more than 12,000 participants from the Framingham Heart Study. Now, the effect was seen in friends and siblings, but not neighbors unless your neighbor is also a close friend. This means that the influence is social rather than due to a shared environment. Therefore, the physical distance between friends does not seem to matter. What mattered was the closeness of the relationship. While you don't need to cut ties with your current friends, you'll find yourself naturally gravitating toward people who share your health goals. Think of it as expanding your social circle. Here's what it looked like for me. When I realized this, I did 2 things. I worked to actively influence my current social circle towards healthier choices. I invited my husband to join me in my new healthy eating goals, and he happily did so, and for that, I feel very blessed. I invited other friends and family too. Some were receptive, some were not. So I sought out new friends who share my health goals. I share my work online, joined Facebook groups. I attended conferences to surround myself with health-conscious individuals, both in person and online. I did meet new friends in the process. In fact, me and my new friend Vivian, who I met at a plant-based conference in New Jersey just last year, started a monthly podcast about how to eat more whole plant foods. The harsh reality is that these kind of people are difficult to find, but they are out there. Your health is significantly impacted by those closest to you. If you're serious about maintaining a healthy lifestyle, you may need to make difficult decisions about the company you keep. Your appetite and old eating habits do not magically change. The hard reality is that starting and maintaining a healthy lifestyle requires ongoing dedication and effort. There's no finish line or point where you can stop paying attention to your diet. You can't eat healthily intensely for a few weeks and then stop completely. That's how yo-yo dieting happens. Temporary changes will only lead to temporary results. Even after reaching your goal, whether it be losing weight, lowering your cholesterol, or building muscle, you will need to continue making mindful food choices to avoid reversing your progress. Eating healthily will take a whole lot of your time. Researching, finding healthy recipes, grocery shopping, spending extra time reading labels and researching restaurants. You need to constantly adjust your strategies so they work for you long term. Sure, there are hacks out there on the internet showing you how to save money here and there, batch cooking, meal planning, and stuff, unless you're rich enough to hire a chef. But for the most of us regular people who are trying to prioritize our health and our diet, you will need to make big sacrifices and a big chunk of your time for it. Eventually, though, it becomes second nature. You won't even have to think much about it as something that requires a lot of effort. But here's another reality check that catches people off guard. Even after mastering the commitment and making it a natural part of your life, you discover that if you're doing this in order to look a certain way, your body image issues may still persist. Reaching fitness goals doesn't automatically resolve body insecurities or self-esteem issues. Life's problems will remain. While good nutrition is great for overall well-being, it's not a cure-all for life's challenges, stressors, or health issues. For example, I have a bad case of dysmenorrhea or menstrual cramps, like really bad, to the point of crying, vomiting, and fainting. It runs in my family, and in a scale of 1 to 10 for pain, with 10 being the worst, I would give it a 7 or 8. I can count how many times my dad had to pick me up in the middle of the day from school and work for that reason. My doctor even prescribed me tramadol for the pain. After the first 3 months of my diet change, the pain decreased to like a 4 out of 10. But it's still there. Every month, it's still something I had to deal with. Healthy eating doesn't fix everything. Keep that in mind so you don't get frustrated. You've changed your mindset, your habits, your environment, your social circle. You start enjoying, even craving for fruits and veggies and whole grains instead of junk food. You develop a healthy relationship with food. You want to exercise regularly. You spend a lot of time being proactive about your health. You make difficult decisions, set boundaries, broke down barriers so you can keep this lifestyle as effortlessly as possible. You learn to plan ahead and prepare for worst-case scenarios. You forgive yourself when you fail. With consistency, repetition, and the right amount of flexibility, it becomes your second nature. This new healthy routine has become a normal part of your life. And then your body changes, because the human body will naturally adapt to your new behavior. You might even need new clothes as your body changes. You sleep better, you have more energy, you get sick less often. Your mood is better and you are more productive. This will inevitably change who you are as a person. This doesn't mean abandoning your cultural identity or family food traditions. Instead, it's about finding ways to honor those traditions while making healthier choices. My family has traditional recipes that I've learned to adapt, keeping the familiar flavors but incorporating more whole foods. Sometimes it's as simple as adding more vegetables to a familiar dish. The key is addition, not elimination. Accepting this truth early on was a big factor of how I was able to sustain my healthy lifestyle for 2 years. On June 6, 2022, after 3 weeks of transitioning to a predominantly whole food plant-based lifestyle, my husband and I made a promise that from that day forward, we will be the type of people who eat healthy. That promise we made to ourselves still holds up strong to this day. True behavior change is identity change. You might start a habit because of motivation, but the only reason you'll stick with one is that it becomes part of your identity. Anyone can convince themselves to visit the gym or eat healthy once or twice, but if you don't shift the belief behind the behavior, then it is hard to stick with the long-term changes. Improvements are only temporary until they become part of who you are. Now, when I say it changes who you are, I don't mean you become a different person entirely. Think of it more of like upgrading to a better version of yourself, like how a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly. You're still you, just with new habits, perspectives, and capabilities. The core of who you are, your values, your personality, your essence remains. You're not losing yourself. You're growing into a stronger, healthier version of yourself. The food was just the beginning for me, and it sparked a chain reaction of positive changes in every aspect of my life. If you want to know more about how I practice this type of lifestyle, check out this video. Looking back at these 2 years, I would say this has been the most unexpected thing that ever happened to me. When I discovered about the amazing benefits of eating more fruits, veggies, whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds, I got so excited I shared it with the people I care about, of course. I thought everyone would also get excited about it like I did. And like I said, some of my family and friends did try this way of eating with me. Some gave me encouragement and were pretty supportive, but chose not to change their diet. And that's okay. I respect that. But then there were others who were apparently not happy that I changed the way I eat. This is the one truth I wish someone had told me when I was starting out. Why do some people get defensive about my food choices? One particular friend told me, and I appreciate her honesty, she said she felt judged because other people see me eat this way, and then they wonder why she doesn't do the same when we're very close. Now, I don't want to delve too much about what happened because we're good now. But I learned from Dr. Doug Lisle, the author of The Pleasure Trap, about the potential jealousy or negativity from others who feel threatened by the changes. They just don't want their own habits questioned. You change who you are, and that makes some people in your life uncomfortable. They are used to seeing the old you. There is a shift in your social dynamics, especially around food-centric gatherings. You may participate less in unhealthy eating or alcohol drinking activities. But that's the reality here. Friends and family members may react differently. Some very supportive and others resistant to the changes. But at the end of the day, though, their reaction is not your responsibility. It is their choice. You can choose not to give in to the negativity. Instead, you focus on what you gained. You learn to be patient with these people. You don't cut them off entirely from your life, but you respect their choices even if it's different from yours. And more importantly, you strengthen your relationships with those who share similar health-focused interests and habits. So, you've made the decision to eat healthily, and now you know what lies ahead: the good, the bad, and yes, the uncomfortable. But here's what I didn't tell you in the beginning. While the statistics say that most people quit their diet after 3 to 5 weeks, those numbers don't define your journey. They're just data points, not your destiny. The path to lasting health isn't about beating statistics. It's about becoming someone new, someone who simply lives this way because that's who they are. You're beginning the process of becoming someone new. And while I can't promise it'll be easy, I can promise you this. If you embrace these uncomfortable truths rather than fight them, you'll find yourself not just changing your habits, but evolving into a version of yourself you never knew was possible. The choice, as always, remains yours. But now you know what it takes. Are you ready to become that person?